simply as a currency substitute.
So we will show you two pictures. So they may be in around June or
fundamentals in general. So blockchain.
Alright, thank you, Attorney,
all
and
the problems that it intends to address, and
by the way, thank you
potential
to Henry of
benefits.
BitShares
So
for supporting the Satoshis for our trivia. Ayun. So, welcome everyone to the BitPinas Webcast. Magandang gabi sa lahat. The BitPinas Webcast is an online web show where we interview the people who move the crypto industry forward. Ako po si Michael Mislos, ang editor-in-chief ng BitPinas. We have been covering the crypto developments here in the country since 2017. So 6 years na tayo sa BitPinas at maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga patuloy na nagbabasa ng aming website at nandito sa aming BitPinas Webcast. So first of all, we want to thank the BitShares Labs for their support and for creating our intro video, and of course, also the Satoshis that we give out to this event, to this webcast. So BitShares Labs helps businesses establish their online presence, and they have been supporting the webcast with the Satoshis for the last 11 episodes. So I hope ating bigyang pasalamatan sa comment section ang sina Blink, sina Henry, who is also in our comment section. So maraming salamat for supporting our webcast. And this webcast is also part of our Road to YGG Summit. So happening this November 18 to 25, YGG is bringing its network and community together in a series of activities that includes hackathon, expo, and tournament, and many several pre-events and mga side activities. So to learn more about the YGG Web3 Games Summit, please visit their Facebook page at YGG Web3 Games Summit. Yun yung pangalan nila. So, and then now we go to the webcast winners. So we will announce the winners for last week webcast tomorrow. And for tonight, ganun pa rin, we have 6 winners of 50k Satoshis from Blink, from BitShares Labs, and you must be following the Facebook page of BitPinas and must also share this stream publicly. So kung wala kayong sharer badge, baka hindi public yung pagkaka-stream nyo, pagkaka-share nyo. And also we have 2 winners of YGG All Access Pass tickets para dun sa event sa November 18 to 25. So to be eligible for the YGG All Access Pass ticket, you must ask a question during this particular webcast. So it doesn't matter naman kung hindi napili yung tanong nyo, as long as you ask a question, kasama kayo dun sa ruleta, kumbaga na paiikutin. So once again, welcome to the BitPinas Webcast. Our topic for today is how Web3 founders can raise funds despite the bear market. So madami sa ating audience sa BitPinas are also builders and founders of crypto companies, of Web3 companies, and a lot of these founders, or a lot of us, have been feeling the harshness of this winter that we have. Although alam naman natin that Bitcoin is now moving up, but still it is not on the same level as it was in 2021 and 2022. So as the crypto winter continues, what are the strategies to secure funding if you have projects despite this particular market climate? So joining us today are 2 professionals in the blockchain venture space, Shi Khai Wei from LongHash Ventures and Yuji Kumagai from Emoote. If I'm correct there, no? So let's bring them up on stage, Yuji and Shi Khai.
Hello. Hi, Michael.
Ayan. Hi, Shi Khai. And
Hi,
Hi,
Michael. Hi,
Yuji.
Shi Khai.
Hey, Yuji.
Yun. So, hello everyone, and thank you for being here in the BitPinas Webcast to discuss a very important topic about Web3 and venture funding, no? And especially in this particular market climate. So, first of all, for our audience, I would like to introduce first these two gentlemen. So, Yuji is the general partner at Emoote. Am I saying that correctly?
Emoote. Emoote. Thank you.
Emoote, okay. So at
Um,
Emoote, a Singapore-based Web3 fund, which have made investments in several Web3 projects like StepN, which I think is very popular here in the country, and then locally founded Breeder DAO and also YGG Japan. While Shi Khai is the co-founder of LongHash Ventures and also a Polkadot ambassador. No, shout out to our Polkadot ambassadors in the chat. I know iBox, you are there in the comment section. And Shikai and LongHash Ventures has managed early blockchain startups that attracted investments from the likes of Binance and Google. So I think as an introduction for our audience, no, Shikai and Yuji, if you can just let us know what got you started in crypto and in the rabbit hole of Web3 so much that you have become, investors in this industry. So maybe we can start with Yuji.
oh, so sorry. So that I missed your question. Sorry. Again.
Yeah, so what got you started in crypto and in the rabbit hole of Web3?
Oh, so I was an entrepreneur before. I developed esports league in Japan, but I I remember I sold Axie Infinity in 2021, and it was so how can a big surprise for us. I was in traditional game companies, but I believe that crypto Web3 will empower change the entertainment market. That's why we started this fund, Singapore based. And then normally we are focusing on the consumer businesses, not only gamify, but also more entertainment or other media lifestyle. So we are originally from Japan, but we basically focusing on the more Asian perspectives. So, but one
All
of
right.
our strengths is the Japanese market. You have to would be bridge between Japan and the global market.
All right, and I saw that you have investments no in YGG Japan. Thank you so much, Yuji. How about you, Shikai? What got you started in crypto and so much that you are now an investor in this industry?
Yes. So I first learned about crypto in about 2017 or so. That was the whole ICO mania. This like saw a lot of hype and tried to understand what is behind it. And what I saw was a new system that has the potential for open innovation regarding assets and ownership. And I saw all the use cases that were possible. But then back then, most of the projects raising funds were blockchains, and they had all these white papers. They're doing ICOs, and we were thinking, where are the applications? Where are the use cases? So I was at McKinsey doing strategy consulting, a lot of digital transformation, and that's where I met my co-founder Emma, and we were talking about use cases, and we're like, hey, let's start an accelerator to support entrepreneurs and builders who are actually going to bring the use cases of these blockchains to the world. And that's why we launched in late 2017, early 2018, and supported founders, invested in them, helped them raise funds. So far, we've supported more than 75 early stage startups, helped them raise more than 150 mil, and quite a few unicorns have come from the accelerator. And after a couple years, we actually set up our own fund as well. So in 2021, we set up our first fund where we invested in the application cycle, where that's where DeFi, NFT, and like DAO came up. So we invested in things like Instadap, Zapper, Balancer, Dodo, and so on. And after that, we saw that actually the applications were so diverse that they kind of broke the chains, right? Like gas fees are very high, and then it was fragmented, and we needed to go back. So with Fund 2, there's been more of a focus on the infrastructure to make blockchains more usable again. So we invest in things like ZK-Sync, Safe, Saga, ChainML, Elusive, quite a few others. And right now, I think the infrastructure is getting to a stage where it's actually pretty good, right? We now have pretty cheap and fast blockchains. We have account extraction to make usage really easy. And so now is the time for you guys, again, application and consumer builders, to take the stage and bring us the next 0 to 1 wave of applications.
All right. Thank you so much, Yuji and Shi Khai, for that very comprehensive origin story, as well as the origin story of your companies. Thank you so much. And I saw, Shi Khai, your company was built 2017, 2018, 2019. Those are the bear markets, no? And you have been supporting blockchain companies at that time. So now we go to the meat of this particular discussion, no? So we wanted to discuss, so the BitPinas audience, many of all of us are of course have an intermediate knowledge of crypto and Web3, and some of them are founders and creators of their own blockchain projects, but maybe some of them also, or some of us, are not familiar with venture capital fundamentals. So maybe let's start with that. Could you explain what venture capital funding is, especially in the context of Web3? So maybe we can start with Yuji. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, good question. So the venture capital is mainly the, how can I say, the basic financial firm to invest in startups. But basically we will raise some fund from our LP investors. In our case, we will raise a fund from our parent company, listed mobile game company, the single LP. So and we will invest in we will deploy those capital to the startup ecosystem, right? So, but basically, before Web3, normally VC will invest in only equity deal for the companies. But Web3 changed one big thing. We can invest in the token, right, for DAO. So it's the biggest change. So, and over the past 2 years, we invest in those kind of the token deal as well. And what's your next question is, what's our business model? Basically, we will support those companies to be, for example, public or to be acquired in the near future, not in the future. So I don't know when, but it could be 2 years later, 5 years later, but normally 7 to 10 years later, they will be public on acquired, right? And at that time, I will sell our equity or tokens on the market or other acquirers. So that's our business model, and that's our venture capitalist normally.
All right. So thank you so much, Yuji, for that. No, Shika, would you like to add anything to that, or we can move to the next question on that?
Yeah, I think it's well covered. I think venture capital basically provides funding for founders. I would say there is some distinction between venture capital and other forms of capital, right? Because you might look at hedge funds, market makers, and or even like exchange IDO platforms and so on. I think the difference with venture capital is that, as Yuji said, it tends to have a longer lifetime. So the fund life usually is somewhere like 5 to 10 years. So you know that this fund can actually hold and support you over that period of time. And sometimes it's also licensed. So you know that the people running the fund are professionals and they cannot just run away with the funds. And at the same time, I think the expectations are quite different compared to, let's say, a hedge fund that maybe like if you double their money, they're very happy. I think for venture capital, we're looking for venture size returns, right? Which could mean 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. So we're looking for the most ambitious and therefore the highest growth potential in the space that we're investing in.
That's a good point. That's a good point, and that's why I became a venture capitalist. So to work with the entrepreneurs, not a hedge fund, at a financial firm.
See, thank you so much, Yuji and Shika. Very comprehensive definition pa lang of venture capital. And my follow-up question here is like, how does a venture capital firm decide to invest in a company? And what are terms like? I think this is some of the words that have been thrown around whenever you read, diba, mga things like things for venture capital, like equity and valuation. So the question is, how does a venture capital decide which company to invest in? So we start now with Shi Khai naman.
Okay, there are many factors that go into a decision on whether to invest. But if I may just kind of summarize very, very briefly, and there are a lot of details that we can go into, The first question is, how big is this opportunity, right? If I invest in this, how big can it get, right? So therefore, what is the potential return, like 100 times, 1,000 times, and so on. And secondly, with that promise, how likely are we to actually reach that potential, right? So we have to look at, do we have the right team set up? Do we have the right product and positioning? Do we already have some sort of traction in order to that shows us the momentum and the potential that we can execute towards that potential vision? And I think lastly would be looking at the right timing and the stage and the terms of the investment. So here's where the market dynamics are quite important, right? To look at the benchmarks of valuation and the co-investors, either from the previous round or the next round from an exit kind of like point of view. And there are many details to have to go into. So let's, I'm sure we're gonna get through that throughout this session.
All right, yeah, and it's like mentioning that there are many factors like to consider, like and thank you for actually putting up those points, no. So the follow-up question there, Yuji, no, is that so that you just discussed what venture capital is and how does venture capital firm decide to invest in a company. So what are the typical stages of startup funding or from a venture capital, and what differentiates them from one another? So we hear this or we read these articles where they say there's the seed round or series A and beyond. So what are the typical stages of funding? So we can now go with Yuji for this one.
Also, mainly we prefer earlier stage from a seed stage to the Series A. But in some cases we cover more later stage. But seed stage is better. We can take a bigger risk to start a new company. And regarding criteria, investment criteria, so the most important thing for us is teams, founders, deep enjoy. Of course, the market. How can I say that their thesis or their strategy, their market is very important, but they could pivot in the near future. But founder is there, so we can continue to believe in the founders in any cases. That's why.
All right. So you begin with the early stages, no? That's what you were mentioning. So my question to Shi Khai is that there are different stages. Like there is the seed round, there's the Series A, and beyond. So maybe let's go to the seed round, maybe or the Series A. What can you give us like an overview on what the usual goal of the investors are? For example, from the seed round and then to the Series A. Then maybe later we can talk about the final one.
Yeah, so I think the difference is in investment criteria, who the investors that you want, and also what kind of like terms or how is the round structured. Are they all different by investment stage? Generally, first, the investment criteria, the earlier it is, then the more important the team setup is, right? So when it's early, it's all about like, who do we have the right people that knows this problem really well, and you can change your idea many times, right? Because as you just say, you can pivot. As you go in the later stage, then you already start to build some products, right? So then we will start to see, oh, okay, actually, what you raised your previous round of funding, and now it has been 1 year, it's been 2 years. What have you done in this 1 or 2 years, right? Have you built multiple versions of the product? Have you improved on it based on user feedback? Have you gotten some partnerships? Have you gotten some users? So we start to look at some of the execution evidence, be it like traction or partnership or like product progress, that shows that you continue to improve your understanding of the space and you continue improving the resources that you have that allow you to succeed. And of course, we're looking for like, then are you showing signs that you're accelerating your growth, right? Now, the second thing that's different is the type of investors you look for. At the early stage, typically you look for angels or like smaller funds. So I would say that basically LongHash and Emoote, we play in the early stage where we can, at our accelerator, we make investments of like 100K, and from the fund we can make investments of like 500K to 1 mil. So in the venture space, is considered fairly like small to like medium check size. Once you get to like seed and Series A, then you need to look for the later stage investors. So you might get some growth round investors. Maybe their fund size is more like hundreds of millions, and their minimum check size might be, let's say, 3 mil, 5 mil, sometimes even 10 mil, right? So then they would actually be able to give substantial backing for that round. Because if you are going to expand and grow even further, maybe the first round you might raise a few 100,000 or 1 million, but maybe in the next stage you might raise 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, right? So then you would want some of the bigger investors to come in, right? The reason you don't want them to come in too early, right? If they are at the too early stage, then they might take up too large percentage of your company or your project before you get to the growth stage. So when you have too much centralization from an investor standpoint, then it is not so favorable for the other investors. So if let's say some $1 billion fund wants to give you like 10 million before you have anything, and then they own like 10%, like they own like maybe 30-50% of a company, I'll say be very careful about that decision, right? Like it's better to engage them later in your fundraising process. And I would say the last thing is the terms of the fundraise are different. So when you're early stage, you don't want to spend too much time in the fundraise. You want to keep it very simple. So usually you go with a SAFE, which is then the Y Combinator standard, right? You just say it's a future equity, or you go with like a SAFT or a SAFE with a side letter. There are many standard agreements that are already in place, right? So then the equity of the investors actually not reflected in your company, right? They actually do not own equity in your company. But once you go to like the seed or Series A, you have a lead investor who set the terms, then you might actually start to convert these SAFE into equity, and then those investors in that round actually hold the equity of the company. So then this will require more legal work and require drafting the agreements, incorporating the right place, and then making sure all investors are included on there. It might include the rights, because they have different shares, class of shares, and they might have different rights, right? Some investors, if you're a later stage, might want like board seats and like visibility and control over the company. So that's why it's typically you don't do this more complicated things until later in your fundraise, until like a few years in, and then you have like sufficient growth and traction, and you need to do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Shi Khai. That is very comprehensive, and also to Yuji. And I've learned a lot also, and I hope the listeners and the watchers of BitPinas Webcast have also learned as well. I agree, or I resonate with what you mentioned, Shi Khai, when it comes to the early stage investment, that the team is actually more important other than all the other things, no? And that is also one of the things that was mentioned, if I may share, in one of our previous meetups, actually. And then what was the other one? Yes, so you mentioned, Shi Khai, about SAP, which is the Safe Agreement for Future Tokens, if I remember correctly. So we see this a lot in what papers and in interviews and articles. So from what we understand, it's like you do not have, or the investor doesn't actually have equity, right, on the company, but they have these tokens. So can you expand more on this, on the SAP or the future token thing, Yuji?
It's as he explained, it's a token version of the SAFE. So we will invest in a token round. But we don't, how can I say, basically, but we don't take any token at that time. In the future, the project will launch a token. So we will receive some tokens. The condition is basically decided on the contract. So for example, it depends on the case, but for example, token price or the valuation. So the very simple agreement that we don't decide any more smaller points at that time. So that's why it's very, very simple.
All right, thank you, Yuji. One thing that I've learned from both of you is that for the early rounds that the agreements must be simple and not very complicated. That's actually a very important point, no, especially for the watchers or the listeners of our webcast. If you guys are in the middle of someone negotiating with an investor, maybe that is something that you need to keep in mind, especially now in the bear market. So now we go to the main topic of our conversation: how Web3 founders can raise funds during or amid this particular bear market that we have. No, so I think Shika, you touched on this a little bit earlier, no, when you were discussing the 2017, 2018, and now back here in this year. How has the current bear market shifted the venture capital landscape for specifically for Web3 startups, Web3 and blockchain startups, Shikai?
Right. Well, let me start off with checking: are we still in the bear market? I think
That is correct.
I think a significant portion of investors might feel that we are in the end of bear market or maybe early bull market. So thankfully, I think it means that sentiment is improving. But of course, if you look at the volume of funding, like in terms of absolute dollar amount, we are still at the lows, right, compared to a couple of years ago in the bull market. So in that sense, definitely we are not yet back into the full swing of the bull. So the definition of bear market, of course, is lack of like liquidity, funding, like users, on-chain assets and volume, and so on. So we can expect there to be very slow progress. And because of that, investors are also very conservative and cautious with the funds that are being deployed. So similarly with us, right, then because anything that is built during the bear market, we might have to wait for 1 to 3 years before you can actually get users and volume and adoption. And so because of that increased risk, therefore, as an investor, that we are the bar, the threshold for us to invest is higher, right? And so you tend to see that fewer projects get funded, and if they do fund it, it's a small amount. But you will also see that there are some projects that are super oversubscribed, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times oversubscribed. It's a very weird dynamic, right? Like everyone's starving, and then there's like 1 or 2 or 3 projects that's like everybody wants to invest. That's because there's a certain what they call flight to quality, or people want to have the safe bet. And typically the safe bet is like a lot of investors want to invest, and everybody agrees, oh, this is the sexiest top narrative and the project right now, and so everybody wants to be in. And so if in the bear market, the best position that you could be in to take opportunistic advantage is to be that project, right? Where like you are the safe investment that everybody wants to be in, because you are driving a lot of new innovation. Everyone's talking about you, and they're imagining your future potential. So, of course, the reality is that most founders and most projects are not going to be that 1 or 2 or 3 very sexy ones that everyone wants to invest in. So most of us are going to be the longer tail that like we could work, but we need to wait for maybe 1 to 3 years before we see the actual volume. So what do you do when you are in that category? I think firstly, you need to reduce your burn rate. Make sure that you can survive on smaller amount of funds. And this also means that you only need to raise a smaller amount of funds from the investors. You say, hey, I only need 1 million to last 2 years, right? That becomes a more attractive investment. And also you might make it more appealing to investors to say, hey, maybe I reduce my valuation so that when I get like users adoption and growth, you actually get a higher return on your investment. So that makes it more attractive. And lastly, and most importantly, keep making progress, keep building, right? Like we need to keep showing that, hey, we're talking to users, we're building new partnerships, we're shipping new versions and features of your product, next versions, right? We are constantly following the market and understanding the trends so that we can adapt to it. So even though it's slow, things are still happening. So we need to follow and we need to make progress. It's not just like, oh, we just slow down. I take another part-time job. I only work on this part-time. Then, people feel that, oh, then, you're not committed or like you're not making progress. Then it's a vicious cycle, right? Then like, yeah, then it'll be much harder for you to raise funds. So definitely be conservative, but continue to make progress.
All right, thank you, Shi Khai, no, and thank you for very comprehensive the discussion on that particular topic. So I agree with you. No, there was a time when all the articles are talking about AI and everyone wants to invest in AI, and then what you mentioned about burn rate, I think is also very important, not just to those that are trying to raise funds, but also to any companies right now in the crypto and the Web3 industry. No, the very important thing is to make sure that you keep your burn rate in check, and of course making progress, no, something that is very important also as well. Yuji, would you like to add to what Shi Khai just mentioned?
Okay, thank you for the great explanation, Shi Khai. So that actually, first of all, I'm very scared of this crypto winter. So this is my first time to experience. The probably Shi Khai knows the last cycle, right? But I believe in the future, first of all. So and it was all covered basically. But as he said, the investors is getting more selective in this market condition. But basically, because of our nature, so we have enough fund already. So we cannot stop deploying basically for the longer term, for few years. We'd like to invest in some startups. That's why we will be selective first of all, right? If you have the great traction, for example, the daily active users, retention rate, or some other TBL, some others, so definitely you can raise a fund from the great investors. That's why you should focus on the building. The first one is product development. Second one is a community building. Yeah, that's very important in Web3. So they keep building.
All right, thank you, Yuji, for that. No, if I may add, this is also my second bear market, like Shi Khai. So I'm not a bit scared, but almost. But we have the Bitcoin halving next year, right? So thank you for mentioning about the product and also the community. I think many in the Web3 companies here and communities are really building into those things, so product and community. Now we go to the Philippines and also geographic trends. So my question here is that you know that for example, there are companies like YGG, which is like a Filipino founded company, but they have investments internationally, right? And also there are local companies with local investors. So in Web3, are there geographic trends or there's none? I guess that's the basic question. Is there geographic trends when it comes to how you invest? So do you make sure that this company is in Singapore, or there is really no geographic restriction at all? Shi Khai, what is your answer to that?
So there's two sides of the answer, right? On one
Okay.
hand, the crypto is fundamentally mostly digital and therefore by nature global. But at the same time, everybody has your own unique positioning, right? Be it your founder, where you grew up, where you studied, where's your network, or what are the users that you're targeting, right? Your initial group of users that love your product, right? And so that has to start somewhere. Typically, it is better to be more focused on a particular niche or segment and be very dominant in that niche before you expand to the global scene. So in that sense, certainly one way to focus is on particular geography, right? So of course, if you have a very strong community or network or people from particular country love you. So let's say you're a Filipino founder, or let's say you used to run BitPinas and now you incubate a new project, and like, hey, this new project, I can immediately share it with the huge community that already knows me. Then certainly it's going to have an effect on the positioning of your project. Now, specifically for Philippines, I think our audience and you will be very familiar that the main thing is we've seen huge adoption from the gaming sector, right? In particular, Axie and YGG, and then from there branching off to other games. And we also see that there's a huge remittance sector as part of the economy, and therefore a natural use case for crypto for overseas payments or transfer. And that's why you can see things like Gcash or like coins.ph, these kind of startups doing well in the Philippines. So I would say that if you are focusing, or if your stronghold or your base is a particular geography, then tap into the natural advantage and the user persona of that geography and win that market. And from there, you can then go global. So certainly, if you're a Filipino founder, tap into this gaming trend, right? Tap into the social trend, like tap into the payments and the familiarity with crypto, and that will certainly drive like your growth and popularity. And from there, you can use that critical mass to then propel.
All right. Thank you so much, Shi Khai. Very comprehensive. Now we have seen companies here, Web3 or crypto companies who have, as you mentioned, established a base here, and then and leapfrog from there, from Asia or somewhere else. Now, Yuji, do you have anything to add on that question? Does investing have any geographical restrictions? What is the stand on you, and also from Emoote, for example? Emoote. Sorry.
Thank you so much. For us, one of the biggest keyword is enterprise. For example, especially Japanese or Korean enterprise, from the mobile game companies to the telecom companies or software hardware companies, they are very aggressive to get in touch with Web3 after the FTX collapse, actually. So that will be the biggest chance in the Asian perspectives. So they also invest in a Web3 project, even by the token round. So that's a good opportunity, and also to get in touch with more developed countries, right? And of course, I know that in Philippines, for example, Gcash or Globe are working with some portfolio as well. That's a very biggest chance for the startups to how can I say to acquire more Web2 users or more mass users, right? So, and that's another perspective. Probably the 5 years ago, then last cycle, there are no enterprise, the only crypto native, right? It's a biggest difference and also biggest chance.
All right.
Actually,
thank you so much.
there is one point we haven't mentioned, which is regulation. And that is also very different by geography, right? So I think we're all familiar that in the US there's a clampdown going on right now because the SEC sounds like very much against crypto. In Europe as well, there are a lot of regulations. Although I mean, there's some countries or some early signs like MICA that they're trying to embrace crypto. By far, Asia seems to be right now the friendliest in terms of regulation to crypto, right? Hong Kong just allowed like license to retail exchanges. Singapore continues to grant licenses for exchange as well. I think in Philippines, crypto is still ongoing. And in Japan also, we have now more license exchanges, like more tokens getting listed. The tax regulation for unrealized gains for crypto going to be changed. In Korea, actually, I'm not sure, but somehow, despite the strict controls, everybody loves buying crypto. And in India as well, despite the kind of like taxes on crypto, there seems to still be a lot of energy. So it's either the regulation and the people are indeed like giving momentum to crypto in this region.
I think that's the elephant in the room, no? The regulation. And I think if I may share with you, the SEC here is actually having this particular draft rules on sandbox or a regulatory sandbox, if you're familiar, for emerging technologies. And they have made this particular draft proposals, and it has been sent, or I mean, the community has seen it already. If our audience has not yet, maybe we can post it on the comment section, that because we have written about it. So there's a regulatory sandbox right now being proposed, and I think that means that more and more opportunities for crypto projects to be and Web3 projects to try to build here with with that particular regulatory umbrella. So sorry, thank you. I mean, I was able to add to that. So now we go to fundraising strategies. No, Yuji, Shikai, can you share some effective, if there's effective fundraising strategies for Web3 founders during this tail of the downturn, as you mentioned, Shikai? So maybe we can start with Yuji on that effective fundraising strategies for Web3 founders.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, so we should understand our situation and the market condition. So first of, for example, your expression was, for example, valuation 30 mil last year, but the situation is being changed, right? And first of all, you should talk with many, how can I say, community members. For example, there are some advisors or early investors, and to give your pitch to those potential investors or your partners, members, right? And to understand your situation. So, and also, how can I say? So, what about else? So, but as Shika said, so you should emphasize your traction, the numbers of the KPI. So how you have the good progress from the, for example, last round over the past 1 year or few months, and how you can manage your company. So with a very healthy teams, the appropriate size team members. So that's one of the important things for the investors. So yeah, those are some of them.
Right. Thank you for that, Eugene. No? And to Shika, I think a follow up on that. Like we are mentioning already, no, on how can they how people or how companies can actually adopt when for example, if they are already in the process of raising or trying to raise funds, they should adopt, they should check their burn rate. But how would they know that it's time to actually adjust their business model, for example, or maybe adjust or change their value proposition? How would they know that this is actually the time that we need to adjust these things, we need to cut people? Any thoughts on that?
Okay. So this is no longer a fundraising strategy. This is like when to pivot or when to raise, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is more of an art. So there is no objective way to decide, right? And so I think from a most objective point of view, you can look at the amount of funds that you have, okay, and whether you're going to get any revenue or whether you're going to get any funding. And let's say, okay, if I have 1 year's runway left, right, then what I want to start raising about right now. Because if you have, let's say, 6 months left in runway and you start to raise funds, and maybe that takes a few months, maybe even takes 3 to 6 months, then the closer you are to the end of your runway where you have to shut down, the worse your position you are in, right? Because then investors know that, hey, if I don't invest, you're gonna die. So then they can negotiate for a much lower valuation or like much stronger terms, right? Make it a convert like a debt or a convertible note kind of thing. So those will be not so favorable for you. The less you need funding, the better your position is. So I would say that be very practical, right? Just try to start to raise about like when you're 1 year runway left, or if you have less than 1 year runway left, then maybe you need to start to think about like cutting down if you are not already close to getting revenue or getting another round, right? So that's from a very practical financial point of view. Now, whether or not you should change your business model, and let's say I have one product and now maybe I go after a different product. I just do some consulting projects, advisory projects just to get some cash in, right? Then that seems to be the more like emergency tactics to deal with it. I would say that as long as you are making progress in terms of understanding your market and understanding your users and what eventual product that you're gonna make, it's totally okay. I would say like feel totally free to adapt your product, adapt your business model, as long as you're making progress, right? Because if I am working, let's say, in the gaming space, and then suddenly I go and do a kind of like market making, or I go do trading, for example. That's very different from my core product. I'm not learning anything. In fact, I might lose money if I go and like do some trading just to like increase my runway and survive, right? So and it becomes a distraction. Whereas, hey, I'm doing a gaming project. Maybe there's an opportunity for me to do some advisory and earn some cash from another project, or do some sort of partnership where I can get some grant and extend my runway a little bit, but still in the gaming space, right? Then at least I buy myself some time to continue to test out my product and speak to users and so on. I would say that is a more coherent strategy. So as long as you are following that North Star, it's okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Very valuable insights from Shi Khai and Yuji. I think our watchers, the BitPinas listeners, have been very attentive into this one, and a lot of questions already. But thank you so much, Yuji and Shi Khai, for we have now ended our first segment. So we are now going to take a break for the trivia Q&A with Lance. So next, after this, we were going to bring you down on stage, Shi Khai and Yuji, and then after that, after the trivia, we are going to go around and ask or answer the questions from our audience. All right. So so thank you so much. And now we are going to play the video from our sponsor of the Satoshis that we're going to give away. Here we go.
Hi everyone, and I hope you enjoyed our episode today at BitPinas Webcast. So my name is Michael Lance, your trivia master this evening. We will be giving away 50,000 Satoshis to you guys. Brought to you by Blink and BitShares Labs for providing us the Satoshis. Now, in order for you to win Satoshis in our BitPinas Webcast, you need to answer our questions in our trivia and interact with us in the comment section in this live stream on Facebook. Ayan. So are you ready to win 50,000 Satoshis? Okay. So we will be asking 4 questions, 4 trivia questions, and you will win. Okay, there will be 1 winner per question. Aside from that, we will also select 2 of those who will participate in the comment section. Winners will be announced after the live stream in our Facebook fan page at BitPinas. Yeah. So, in order for you to win our Satoshis, all you need to do is to like our Facebook fan page at BitPinas, share our live stream in your Facebook profile publicly so that you will get a share badge, and answer our trivia questions correctly in the comment section of this live stream. Ayan. So are you ready for our trivia question this evening? Ready na ba kayo? Okay. So here is our first question. Our first question for tonight is, name one of the guests of this BitPinas webcast tonight. Okay? So once again, name one of the guests of the BitPinas webcast tonight. Remember to type in the correct answer in the comment section of our live stream, like our Facebook fan page at BitPinas, and share this live stream publicly on your Facebook profile publicly to get a sharer badge. Remember that you need to share it publicly and not only on among your friends. So check your settings on your Facebook account. So once again, name one of the guests of this BitPinas webcast tonight. Ayan. So you will win 50,000 satoshis if you will be selected to win our trivia question. All right. Now, are you ready for our second trivia question for tonight? Ayan. So don't worry, we will be asking these trivia questions later. And don't forget to participate in our comment section in this live stream. All right, for our second question. Okay. Name the guest of the BitPinas webcast last week who discussed Web3 game predictions. So once again, name the guest of the BitPinas webcast last week who discussed Web3 game predictions. Remember to type in the correct answer in the comment section of this live stream. Share our live stream on your Facebook profile publicly. Like our Facebook fan page at BitPinas. We will be selecting 4 winners in this trivia question. So we will be asking 4 trivia questions and we will be selecting 1 winner per each trivia question. Okay. So once again, name the guest of the BitPinas webcast last week who discussed Web3 game predictions. Answer it in our comment section here in this live stream. Ayan. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you as well for Blink and Beachers Labs for giving away these Satoshis. Ayan. So we are once again going back to Michael to continue our conversation with Yuji and Shi Khai.
All right, thank you so much, Lance. No, so the nagtatanong yung mga ano natin, yung mga audience natin kung ka daw galing. So on this one, no. So do you have a question, by the way, to Shi Khai and Yuji? If you wanted to ask them something.
Okay, yeah. So I have this question in my mind. Yuji and Shi Khai. Okay, so this is my question to the both of you. Which one do you prefer to invest in? A good idea, a good team, or a good friend? And why?
All right. So which would you invest in? A good idea, a good friend, or a good team? Maybe we start with Yuji.
Okay, thanks so much. So eventually, as I said, I will take a good team first. So team and the idea second.
All right. How about
Same.
you, Shi Khai? Same.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
team
Team
and a good.
overall. Although I would say that if you're a friend, that helps a lot, right? Because
eventually.
Yeah, because it means you know the person over a period of time, and you know the character well.
All right. Thank you so much. And now we are back to the second segment or the second part of our BitPinas webcast with Yuji and Shi Khai for our road to the YGG Web3 Games Summit happening on November 18 to 25. 2 weeks away, everyone. So I hope you guys will go there. And for those who are asking the questions, you will be eligible to 2 tickets, all access tickets for the YGG Web3 Games Summit, and we will announce the winners tomorrow. So yeah, let's go back to our interview with Yuji and Shi Khai how Web3 founders can raise funds during the bear market. And so far we have learned so many valuable information from these two gentlemen, especially when it comes to raising funds at this point in time. What are the most important things to consider, and if your burn rate is getting low, what are the things that you need to do? Thank you so much on that. Now I know that you guys have a lot of portfolio companies, right? And now we are in this particular downturn, or the last stages of the bear market. Okay, I will admit, Shi guys. So how are venture firms currently supporting their portfolio companies? So during the bear market, for example, how do venture companies support their portfolio companies? So maybe we can start with Yuji.
Thank you. As Shikai said before, first of all, we will advise to the entrepreneurs to survive, first of all, differentially. So then to be healthy team. So if they waste some extra money for their marketing or some, for example, office environment or team size or any other contract, so we will advise to fix their cost, first of all, to survive. And also, we will, how can I say, we will invite more the potential investors for their next round. Yeah, that's the biggest advantage from the investor side.
I see. Thank you so much, Yuji. Actually, that one of my the next follow-up question to that is like, what kind of non-financial support is most critical for startups or to Web3 startups during a bear market? Yuji, you mentioned that you can introduce them to other future potential investors. No? So maybe you can add something to that, Shi Khai. What non-financial support is most critical that the venture capital can provide to their portfolio or to their
Yeah, there is one way that LongHash can support founders that is quite different from other VC. So I think everybody has their unique flavor of value add. For us, because we run an accelerator alongside the fund. So if we invest in, say, an infrastructure or a community or a platform, what we can do is bootstrap the ecosystem by helping some of the early stage founders who are thinking of integrating with your product or community or infrastructure, turn their idea into a long-term sustainable project by letting them come through the accelerator program, right? So often when you have a project, you might start a documentation, you might have some sort of grants program, you might have like hackathons, a lot of events, and you might have some people who are building on top of you or like incubated within that community or ecosystem. But sometimes after they get the grant, they just build something and then that's it, right? It's very hard to maintain. So what we do is that we firstly invest, and also then we attract other investors to come and invest for the accelerator projects. That's the financial. The non-financial part is that we spend that 3 months intensively to do venture building for these projects, validate or invalidate what kind of like users, what kind of product direction, right? Bring in some potential partners, bring in your technical mentors, and then during the demo day as well, give you a lot more exposure, be it to other investors and partners. And with that, I think if you have a certain product that can benefit from having an ecosystem of other applications that are built on you or derived from you, then we can leverage our unique accelerator model to help.
All right, so thank you so much. Now, I think I have seen a lot of those particular support that is happening, like hackathons and grants. I think still very critical, and I think we have some news there on some blockchains that are doing grants, especially here in Filipino projects. So I guess we are. Shi Khai, you mentioned earlier that we might be at the last stages of the bear market. We have the Bitcoin having next year, and this is our second bear market. So I know what happens after. So what advice would you give the two of you? So what advice would you give to Web3 founders to prepare for the next bull market? So maybe this is not really about venture capital, but I think this also is an adjacent question, right? So what advice would you give like to Web3 founders to prepare for the next bull market? Maybe we start with Yuji on this one.
Okay, so the best great question. Thank you. So actually the crypto winter or this bear market is the best opportunity, best time to build. So first of all, you can focus on the product, not a token price or liquidity, right? You can focus on the product development or community building. That's why. And not only in crypto. So for example, in the financial crisis 2008, after that, the Uber or Facebook emerged from that market condition, right? They became a great companies globally, right? But probably last cycle generated Axie Infinity, YGG, right? So they are very great companies, project in Web3. Definitely, we believe in the future, crypto future. And you should consider what value you provide to the consumers or community. So you should focus on that your values. That's why and you should believe your futures. And to add one thing for the previous question, one of the biggest hands-on is their mental support, just chatting to the entrepreneurs. So yeah, that's probably a very important thing.
All right, thank you so much, Yuji. No, so we at BitPinas, as mentioned, we started in 2017, and we have observed many companies that have died down in 2018, 2019, but those who continued on, like Sky Mavis, for example, they are the ones who actually reap the fruits of the labor. I don't know how to say it correctly, but they are the ones who actually perform well, or they have earned all the things that of the bull market of 2021. So they did not stop building. So really great advice. No, the bear market is the time to actually start building. When you are building a community, this is actually the time to start building a community, because the community that you will attract are not there because they are speculating, right? So these are really people, because if they're speculators, maybe in the bull market you will attract them. No? So you are attracting the right, for example, the right investors, the right community when you are building in the bear market. Shi Khai, would you add anything to that? What advice would you give to Web3 founders who are preparing to prepare for the next bull run?
Yeah, I think we touch on many points. Agree with all of them. There's one main thing I will add, which is to pay attention to what is going to be different in this next cycle compared to the previous cycle, right? What is different and what will change the whole industry? So one answer that is very clear is that the infrastructure and apps, infrastructure and the tooling that you're going to use is going to be very different, and it's going to transform the user experience for the next generation of applications. So now we have L2s, we have app chains, we have app rollups, L3s maybe even, right? And we also have account extraction. So now you can have cheap and fast transactions. You can be completely gasless. You might not even need a seed phrase. You just log in with your email and so on. And maybe later on, if you want to add like security and so on, you can, right? So pay attention to these are completely new infrastructure that enables new possibilities for you in the next bull cycle, right? Once the user experience is totally different, what kind of new users can we attract? What kind of new use cases become a lot more possible, a lot more feasible? And with that, you can find that 0 to 1 wave that will ignite the whole wave.
Thank you so much, Shi Khai. I really like the 0 to 1 book also. I mean, excellent. And I was supposed to add there something, but maybe we go first to this question. Let's say, for example, it's already the bull market. Now, let's pretend it's the bull market. Bitcoin is 70,000. How can, Web3 or, the companies themselves, how can they make sure that they take full advantage of the bull market? I think that's what happened 2021, 2022. Some of the projects, this is their first time in crypto. This is their first time in Web3. They didn't know what to do when the bull market happened. So let's pretend it's already the bull market. How can companies make sure that they are able to take full advantage of the bull market to prepare them for the possibly next 3 or 4 years of the bear market, because it's a cycle, right? It's always happens. So maybe we start with Yuji on this one.
Yeah, this one, Shi Khai, please.
Okay,
Okay.
sure. Yeah. I think learning from the mistakes from the previous cycles, the first and number one thing is to make sure that you have enough reserves. Bull market does not last forever. Bull market is the best time if you want to raise some funds, or if you want to even launch a token. There are a lot of new buyers, right? New people who want to get in and own your product. But then once you do that, don't forget that the bear market is coming. So set aside some cash. Don't expend too quickly. Don't expect the bull market to last forever, right? And like remember what happened in the previous cycles. So I see that's the number one thing you should do in the bull market. Of course, number two is that take full advantage of that, right? It's linked, right? So if there are new users coming in, new channels, right, new partners, definitely go ahead and make full use of those. I think like there's so much new attention they're gonna get from media, from like new projects, from new communities that spring up. This is the best time to maximize your reach and impact. And I would say lastly would be don't end up in jail. Like in the bull market, sometimes it can be tempting to then like go into the regulatory gray area, or there's a lot of like opportunities to pump and dump or scam or anything like that. Reputation lasts forever. So while it might be easy to make quick money, be careful to preserve reputation, because when the bear market comes, or like in the years to come, your token holders, your investors, the people in the industry, they will remember you by what you have done.
All right, thank you so much. Now, excellent advice. Don't end up in jail. Don't use customer funds like what happened. Thank you so much, Yuji and Shi Khai, on those very, very valuable information to all of us here in the BitPinas Webcast. We go to some of the questions from our audience. No? This one is from LJ. He was mentioning about how do you see Web3 companies? How will they survive if there are more strict rules that are done by the government? So I'm not sure if this is a very sensitive question. Any one of you can answer on this one. Okay,
Okay, so
Yuji, let's go.
Okay, I will take it. Okay. So, for example, as Shi Khai said, the restriction or regulation side it depends on the market country. So you should look at your target countries first. But of course, there's some very strict countries there, but there's some more friendly government there. So, and definitely, I don't know. So when will this bear market will be finished? But I hope the later next year. So, but first of all, as I said, so how can I say? Some big trend will come next year. As I said, for example, enterprise, or as you know, the Bitcoin ETF. The traditional institutional investors will join this market, and that's one of the big narrative differential in the next cycle. And after the Bitcoin price going up, Ethereum going up, and more other tokens or NFTs price will be improved eventually. So it's a great time, it's a great chance for the startup side to build product to attract more users, to keep more their heavy users. And that's my perspectives.
All right, thank you so much, Yuji. The next question is from JP. So I'm just going to translate. Though he was mentioning that are there more investors in the bull market, or there are more investors in the bear market? Which market cycle has more investors? So maybe Shi Khai, you've been here since 2017. What have you
This is an
observed?
easy one. Of course, there's more investors during the bull market, but there are better investors in the bear market.
Very nice, very simple and very succinct. No, thank you so much, Shi Khai. Next question, from Godwin: how can you attract investors when you are just starting to build a project? So maybe Godwin has an idea. Maybe he still has just an idea. So how can he attract investors, or does he need to actually attract investors at this particular stage? What do you think, Yuji?
Oh, eventually, for example, for us, it's a kind of demo, their product. So not only the business plan, if you have any demos, any product, I'd like to see or try the application first. That's the most attractive, and that's the best criteria to understand their project first. Or
All right.
if more later stage, it'll be more traction.
Yeah.
KPI.
I'll have one piece of advice here. If you're trying to attract, be ambitious, right? Don't try to build some small that like, oh, this solves this problem. Like, we want to see some big problems and how you can totally transform industry and create totally new possibilities. I think that's attractive. Well, other than that, it's the usual, right? Like, what's your unfair advantage, your progress, and so on.
All right, thank you so much for those answers. Godwin, you have these answers from Yuji and Shi Khai. Feel free to email them if ever. Yeah, so we can go with other questions here. I guess so. Okay, so we have this question from Mar Pedrina. So I think you've also touched on this a bit earlier, but maybe you can expand more. How can a project differentiate itself and stand out in a crowded market during a bear market in crypto? So maybe you have this particular product, but maybe it's not the sexy product like Shi Khai you mentioned earlier. So how can they stand out in this particular situation? So yeah, Yuji.
Okay. Oh, sure. So it's very interesting question. But for example, yeah, as Michael said, we invested in Steppen, and after Steppen, so many competitors copycat in this market. But actually, I have passed all of them. So now it's a completely different user experience. For example, in the many gamify projects there, but a completely different user experience there. So in some cases, we look at the user experience first as one of the users. So probably that's one of the differentiator for projects.
All right, how about you, Shi Khai, on this particular question?
Yeah, I would say it's a similar answer to the last question, actually. So when you think about a crowded market, if you think you are in a crowded market, you already lost, right? Peter Thiel famously said, "Competition is for losers." Right? If you're building something truly new, innovative, disruptive, it is not a crowded market. There's totally new possibilities. But if you're solving the same problem in a very different way, then you can also put in like, hey, what is the unfair advantage that I have by doing it this way, right? Like maybe it's something to do with the team, right? I have some sort of unfair advantage because I know this problem. I've worked on it for like 20 years, or I have a very strong network. I know everybody in this industry, everybody who is related, like the biggest partners or the biggest communities to make this particular product succeed. Or I have just such a fundamentally different way to approach that. It's like 100 times cheaper, faster, or like simpler than anything that came before it.
All right. Thank you, Shi Khai and Yuji. And now this is an interesting question from Ismael. I hope you can actually read this now. So now that some startups have raised millions of dollars and running out of runway, and some of them are dying, or yeah. So do you regret? Do you have any regrets, Shi Khai and Yuji, for investing in other startups that you were not able to invest in? Or on this particular question, do you regret not investing in other startups that are still here despite not getting funded during the last cycle? Do you have those kinds of emotions? Shall I say? What do you think, Yuji? You're from Emoote.
Oh, it's a tough question. So but basically, we will continue to support our portfolio, right? So, but of course, in some cases, we will do some follow-on investment, and but it depends on. So, but unfortunately, some of the companies will cannot survive in this market condition, so cannot raise a more fund, unfortunately, right? But we will support them until their last day.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yuji. How about you, Shi Khai? Any regrets
Yeah.
on
Well, of course, I
Yeah.
think every investor has some projects that you're like, oh, it was a mistake in the end, or it's a big miss, right? In the end, yeah. So of course, every project has that. I think like for us, one of the biggest miss is actually we've known Gabby for many years, and like we helped him feature him at pitch events and like introductions. But when we had the opportunity to invest, it didn't actually fit into our criteria back then. So that's a huge miss for us, right? And but after that, of course, in different ways, personally and so on. I think we are involved in YGG and so on. But yeah, I think every investor is going to have these lessons, and like for us, for the mindset for venture capital is to think in probabilities, right? There's no absolute guarantee that this startup is going to succeed or going to fail. You just have to think that like based on the information and the factors that I know, then like am I willing to take the risk? Am I willing to take this probability today? Right. And over time we continue to improve our pattern recognition and the criteria that we use.
All right. Really excellent points to the both of you, Yuji and Shi Khai. Thank you so much for being here. Now we are just going to conduct the last trivia, and after that we are going to have our final statement from both of you. So we're just going to bring you down on stage, and we bring up hold on. And we bring up Lance. Are you ready for the next? Where are you? Ayan.
Yeah, of course, Michael. I'm so excited to give away 50,000 worth of Satoshis to our viewers in tonight's session of BitPinas Webcast. Now, are you ready to win 50,000 Satoshis? Okay, so we will be giving away another set of 50,000 Satoshis to our next two winners who will answer our trivia question. And we will also select two of those who will participate in the comment section. So don't forget to share our live stream on your Facebook profile publicly, so that you will be awarded a sharer badge, and like our Facebook fan page at BitPinas to get a follower badge. Don't forget to type in the correct answer of our trivia question in this comment section of this live stream. Okay? So once again, thank you so much for Blink and BitShares Labs for giving us Satoshis this evening. Ayan. So are you ready to answer our trivia question? Ayan. Are you ready? Are you ready? Excited na ba kayo? Are you excited to win Satoshis? Okay, so our third question for tonight. When is the YGG Web3 Games Summit going to be? Okay. So once again, when is the YGG Web3 Games Summit going to be? You need to type in our comment section of this Facebook live stream from what date until what date this is happening on November. Okay? So November so yun ha. So that's what you will type into our comment section. Okay? Give us the range. Okay? You need to answer our questions correctly so that you will win 50,000 Satoshis. And like and share. Okay? So once again, our third question, when is the YGG Web3 Games Summit going to be. Okay. So don't forget to type in the correct answer in our comment section of this Facebook live stream. Like our Facebook fan page at BitPinas and share this live stream publicly on your Facebook profile to get a sharer badge. We will be selecting one winner per question and we will announce it in our Facebook live stream tomorrow. Okay? Facebook fan page. Okay? Hindi live stream. Okay? Hindi tayo magla-live stream bukas. So we will be posting it in our Facebook fan page tomorrow. Okay? So our fourth question, our last trivia question for tonight. BitShares Labs is based in what city in the Philippines? Okay. So once again, our last question. BitShares Labs is based in what city in the Philippines? Okay. So type in the name of the city in the Philippines here in the comment section of this live stream. Okay. Don't forget, huh? And we will also, aside from this trivia portion, we will be giving away 50,000 satoshis to 50,000 satoshis if you will participate in the comment section. So we will be selecting 2 winners aside from our trivia question. Okay? But you need to like our Facebook fan page and share our live stream publicly on your Facebook profile to get a follower badge and sharer badge in order to qualify our prize this evening. Okay? So once again, we will be announcing 4 winners in the trivia question tomorrow and 2 who will be participating in our comments section. Ayan. So we wish you all the best, no? We wish you good luck in winning this trivia question for tonight.
Alam ko sabihin mo, we wish you a Merry Christmas na yun.
Oo,
Ayan.
no? We will wish you a Merry Christmas din. Ayan. So, So sagutin niyo sa ating comment section. So once again, this is Michael Lance, your trivia master for tonight. And let's continue our conversation with Yuji and Shi Khai together with our editor-in-chief, Michael.
All right, thank you so much, Lance, for the trivia Q&A. And sa mga hindi nanalo or sa mga hindi nakasagot ng tama, meron pa naman sa comment section. If you are participating, you will get the satoshis. And if you have asked a question in this webcast, you are also eligible to win the YGG All Access tickets to the YGG Web3 Games Summit coming in 2 weeks, no, this November. So shout out muna, maraming salamat sa mga nanonood, nandito pa din, kay Opel Santos, kay Joben Brian Delgado, kay Brian Martinez, kay Liam Nison yung pangalan niya, kay Delilah Mangalus, kay Julian Persega, kay Rodriguez, kay Ivax Asuelo, Melissa De Vera. These are people who have been watching our webcast, no, every week. I can see the names are very familiar, no? LJ Domino, JP Grabador, Oliver Lance, El Bonuan, congratulations on your grant. El, if you're still here. Alvin Gonzales, Ismael Jerusalem, Eli Besislao, Vico Lorenzo, Angie Daguro, maraming salamat sa mga nanonood and all who are still here. So I would like to bring up on stage Shi Khai and Yuji. This has been a very informative webcast. Now we have learned a lot about the venture capital, no? So I'll bring up on stage. Okay, so we've learned a lot from Shi Khai and Yuji for this particular webcast. These are the things that we normally don't also cover on BitPinas. So hopefully you can read our recap article for this one, and hopefully I get to see you in the YGG Summit in 2 weeks. No, if you guys are going there, we can have a live interview also there. So maybe you have a piece of advice. Of course, this is the closing remarks. You know how this works. Do you have any last words or final words to our audience about our topic on how Web3 founders can raise funds during the bear market. Any final words on that topic, and also where can people find you? So maybe we start with Yuji.
Okay, thank you everyone for this time. So one thing. So actually, the Web3 is just a label to differentiate from the traditional industries. But definitely, I believe that the Web3 is getting very common. As I said, enterprise is getting in touch with this market. Even Starbucks, Nike, or LVMH issues the NFTs, right? Probably we won't consider if Web2 or Web3. So definitely we will build the next, how can I say, future, very common things in the future, right? So we believe that future. So let's keep building together and looking forward to meeting in person with you in Manila.
Thank you so much, Yuji. How about you, Shi Khai? Last words about our topic. How can people find you, Shi Khai?
Yes. Oh, actually, Yuji, how can people find you?
Yeah, by the way.
Oh, okay, I will. So you mean on the web in Manila?
Yeah, I mean, do you have a Twitter? Do you have a Twitter where we can
Twitter?
where
Okay.
people can
So
find you?
wait a moment. I will share.
You need to check your Twitter handle.
Yeah. Okay, this one.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, how can I comment?
Just put it on the comments or on the private chat, and then we can actually also post it on our official Facebook our official Facebook, and also comment that. So yeah, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Yuji. And
Okay.
how about
Well-
you, Shi Khai? Any final words, and where can people find you?
Yes. Well, I like to borrow a cliche from the last bull market, which is we're all gonna make it, right? I think you guys, you are here during the bear market, learning and improving your knowledge, right? You're building right now. So anyone who is here today and you're serious about building, you're following the trends, I think we're all gonna make it in this upcoming bull cycle. So just keep building. I think Web3, we are creating like the freest market, right? So there's so many ways for you to create value, be it a new application, a new like social community, a new DAO, a new infrastructure. So take this chance to create something of value, right? And we'll see you in the bull market, or we'll see you in Manila. And we hope to support you as a founder or as a contributor in your journey, be it financially or non-financially. So at LongHash, you can find us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is LongHashVC, and our accelerator is LongHashX, just the letter X. And myself, you can follow me at the Shi Khai, so TheShiKhei. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in.
All right, thank you so much, Yuji and Shi Khai. So I think if I may add, no, the things that was there in the last bull cycle are the guilds. There were no guilds in the previous market cycles. And now we have here Yuji and Shi Khai mentioning the app chains, the layer trees, and the enterprise levels that will be that are the things that we should keep watching or should be on our radar in the next bull run. So thank you so much again, Shi Khai and Yuji. This is very important webcast for everyone who are listening. And while the current bear market it presents challenges to startups, to Web3 startups, this is also the time and also the perfect opportunity, maybe to refine your your pitches, or maybe to refine your business or your products or your value proposition, and demonstrate also resilience that you can actually last until the next bull cycle once it happens. Remember, I mentioned earlier, Yuji and Shi Khai also mentioned he also, or maybe they said it in passing, but the winners of the bull market are those who survive the bear market. So we are now laying the groundwork. And if you guys need, for sure, these two gentlemen will be here in Manila in 2 weeks. You can approach them for sure in the YGG Web3 Summit. Thank you very much again. And I would like to thank Empersis for setting up this interview. Beachers for the sponsorship and the satoshis that we are giving up for this webcast. YGG for the tickets. Our staff, Nathan, Sheila, who are assisting me in the back end. Lance, our correspondent for the prices. My girlfriend Aya, who is also moderating and assisting in the comment section. My name is Michael Mislos. I'm the editor and founder of BitPinas. See you in the next bull run. See you in the YGG Summit, and see you next week for the next episode of the BitPinas Webcast. Maraming salamat at magandang gabi sa lahat. Thank you.